Welcome back to Daily English Dive. Today, we are walking into some really dangerous territory. We are talking about that specific moment where you feel like a total failure and why your brain is actually lying to you in that exact moment.
Yeah, it is dangerous territory because that is the exact edge where 90% of people quit. They just walk away right before the miracle happens.
They really do. And I have to be honest with you, I am right on that edge today. I'm feeling incredibly defeated.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what this is about. You remember buying that acoustic guitar about 3 months ago?
I do, and you remember it too.
I do. I mean, you were incredibly enthusiastic about it. You had the tuning app, the special picks, the shiny new stand, the whole setup.
I was all in. I really was.
Yeah.
I made a strict pact with myself to practice for 1 hour every single night, and I actually stuck to it. My fingers bled. I developed those gross, hard calluses on my fingertips. I was putting in the work.
Right, the physical evidence of trying.
Exactly. So, yesterday, I decided I was finally ready for the big reveal. I gathered my whole family in the living room, big moment, and I said, okay, everyone, prepare to be amazed.
Uh-oh. I can feel the tension already.
Yeah.
Very high expectations.
Way too high. I started playing this folk song I had been drilling for weeks, and honestly, it was a total train wreck.
Oh, man, that is the worst feeling.
It was. Buzzing strings, missed chords, I kept losing the rhythm, and my mom, who's usually my biggest fan, she actually frowned, looked around, and asked, is there a sick cat outside?
Oh, wow. That is a brutal review from your own mother.
I know. It was crushing. I felt so humiliated. I immediately wanted to just take the guitar and throw it right in the dumpster outside. It felt like invisible effort. 100% effort, 0% visible result. And my brain just said, stop wasting your time.
That phrase, invisible effort, that is exactly what we need to deconstruct in our deep dive today. Because while you're talking about a guitar, this is the exact same struggle you, our listener, face with language learning.
That is exactly why I wanted to bring it up. The feeling is identical.
It really is. You study vocabulary for hours, you drill the grammar rules until your head hurts, but when you try to actually speak to a native English speaker,
you just freeze.
You freeze.
I have to
Or you stumble, or you forget the most basic word.
Right. It feels like all this input is happening, but the output is just absolute garbage.
But here's the thing. That frustration is not about a lack of talent. It is a symptom of the era we live in. We are all suffering from microwave culture.
Microwave culture, meaning we just want things heated up and ready in 30 seconds.
Exactly. But it is deeper than just food. It is about how our dopamine receptors have been fundamentally retrained by modern technology. Think about it. If you want entertainment,
Netflix gives it to you in 2 seconds.
right. If you want a product, Amazon delivers it the very next day. If you have a question, Google answers it in 0.1 seconds. We have been conditioned to view effort and reward as a transaction that happens almost instantly.
That makes total sense. We treat skill acquisition like a vending machine. Put the coin in, get the candy out, and if the candy does not drop immediately, we just kick the machine.
Precisely. But human skills, like learning conversational English or playing that acoustic guitar, they are biological, not digital. You aren't downloading a software update to your brain, you are building neural pathways.
We hear that term a lot in these discussions, neural pathways, but what does it actually look like physically in the head?
It is about a process called myelination.
Yeah.
Every single time you struggle through that difficult chord change or struggle to find the right English word in a conversation, your brain wraps that specific neural circuit in a substance called myelin.
Myelin, like an insulator.
Exactly like an insulator.
It's
It's like wrapping thick rubber insulation around a chaotic, sparking electrical wire. The more insulation you add, the faster and cleaner the signal travels.
Okay.
But you cannot Amazon Prime myelination. It is a biological process that simply takes time.
So when I sounded like a sick cat to my mom, I was actually just insulating the wire.
Yes. You were actively building the biological infrastructure for the signal. The wire just wasn't fully insulated enough to carry the beautiful music yet. The effort was there. It was just invisible.
Okay, I love that. But I know it is really hard to trust a process you cannot actually see.
It is. Which is why, to help you visualize this, I want to look at one of the core metaphors from our source material today. Is the story of the Chinese bamboo tree.
I have heard variations of this story over the years, but walk us through the specific details from the sources, because I think the exact timeline really matters here.
The timeline is absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So consider a farmer named Leo. He lives in a village where everyone grows fast crops, things like corn or radishes.
Crops where you plant the seed on Monday and you eat a salad a few weeks later. Instant feedback.
Right. But Leo is highly ambitious. He buys some rare Chinese bamboo seeds from a village elder.
He wants to grow a giant forest, not just a quick side salad.
Exactly. But the elder gives him a very strict warning. He says, Leo, these seeds require absolute faith. You must water them and fertilize them every single day. If you miss even a short period, the seeds will die in the ground.
That sounds incredibly stressful every single day.
Every day, no days off. So Leo plants them. Year 1 begins. He wakes up early, carries heavy wooden buckets of water from the river, and waters the mud. 365 days pass.
And the result, what does he have to show for all that lifting?
Absolutely nothing. Just brown, wet mud.
See, this is exactly where I would struggle. A whole year of heavy lifting and zero visual feedback. I would just assume the seeds were duds. I would assume the elder scammed me.
Most people would. And that is the true test of silence. So year 2 passes. The seasons change. He gets backaches, blisters, calluses. He waters the dirt for another 365 days. Still nothing.
This is getting painful to even think about.
Year 3 passes. Year 4 passes. Leo has now been watering empty dirt for 1,460 days.
That is the literal definition of insanity to most people, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
But it is not insanity. It is incubation. And this brings us to a crucial point about why your dreams die when you speak them. Because while Leo is doing all this invisible work, he is not alone. He has neighbors.
And I am guessing the neighbors are not exactly cheering him on.
Not at all.
Yeah.
They are harvesting their fast corn. They are eating well, seeing results. And they look over and see Leo watering the dirt every morning. They start to mock him.
What do they say?
They call him the man who farms invisible vegetables. They laugh and say, hey, Leo, you have poured so much water on that dirt. Why don't you just build a swimming pool instead?
That kind of social pressure is toxic. It reminds me directly of the crab mentality concept we read about in the research.
That is the perfect connection, crab mentality. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it can easily climb out and escape. But if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket together, the moment one crab tries to climb out, the others will physically reach up and pull it back down.
Why do they do that? Is it just pure jealousy?
It is a mix of jealousy and psychological safety.
Right.
In human terms, when you announce a big, ambitious goal,
Like saying, I am going to be totally fluent in English.
or I'm going to master the guitar, when you declare that, you are challenging the status quo. Your ambition shines a bright spotlight on their stagnation. It reminds them of the dreams they gave up on. It makes them profoundly uncomfortable.
Oh, wow. So they try to pull you back down to normal.
Yes. Like friends laughing at an English learner when they try out a new American accent. They want you back in the bucket.
So the lesson here isn't just about having patience. It is really about the power of silence.
Yes. Keep your dreams underground. Think about Leo. If Leo had dug up the bamboo seed in year 3 just to prove to his mocking neighbors that something was happening,
He would have killed the plant.
instantly.
He would have exposed those fragile roots to the harsh sunlight before they were ready.
Exactly. You have to fiercely protect the roots while they're vulnerable. And that protected silence is what leads to the magic of year 5.
The breakthrough.
The massive breakthrough. One morning in year 5, a tiny green shoot finally appears above the dirt. And then the explosion happens. In just 6 weeks, that Chinese bamboo tree grows to 90 feet tall.
90 feet in 6 weeks. That is biologically aggressive. That is some serious visible growth.
It is roughly 2 feet a day. You can literally sit in a chair and watch it grow in real time. The neighbors are absolutely shocked. They call it an overnight miracle. But here's the core question we need to ask. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years?
Well, the answer has to be 5 years. Because without that massive underground root system, a 90-foot tree would just snap and fall over in the very first breeze.
Precisely. The invisible work of the first 4 years was exclusively dedicated to developing a root system strong enough to support the massive weight of the future success.
The Iceberg Illusion.
Exactly. We see the 90 feet of green, the top 10%, and say, wow, an overnight success. But we completely ignore the 90% hidden underwater. We ignore the 4 years of silent darkness.
I really love the bamboo metaphor, but I want to push back just a little bit here, because metaphors are nice, but they don't always help when you are sitting alone at your desk, staring at an English textbook and feeling totally stupid.
That is a very fair point.
Is there a more scientific way to look at this waiting period? Because frankly, my brain does not run on bamboo seeds.
Fair enough. Let's shift away from botany and move over to physics. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, describes this exact phase of frustration as the plateau of latent potential.
Latent. Meaning hidden or stored. Right.
Yes, hidden, stored energy. Clear uses an amazing analogy of a phase transition. So imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a freezing cold room. You look at the thermometer and the room is 25 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, I'm picturing it. A very cold room, totally frozen ice cube.
You want to melt the ice, so you start heating the room. You are putting in the effort. The temperature rises to 26 degrees.
The ice cube is still completely frozen solid.
Right, so you work harder. 27 degrees, 28 degrees, 29. You are burning calories. You are studying English grammar every night. You are practicing your guitar chords until your fingers bleed. But you look at the evidence, the ice cube, and it hasn't changed at all.
And this right here is the danger zone. This is exactly where I look at my guitar and say, I have put in all this heat, I have done the work, and I have 0 drops of water to show for it. Physics is broken.
Exactly. You feel like you have completely wasted your time. But you haven't. You are simply storing potential energy. The work is not lost, it is stored. So you keep going. 30 degrees, 31 degrees, still just a block of ice. Then you apply one more tiny unit of heat. You hit 32 degrees.
And the melt finally begins.
It turns into water. Now think about the physics. Was it that last single degree from 31 to 32 that magically melted the ice?
No, of course not. It was the cumulative energy of going all the way from 25 to 31.
Bingo. This gap is what we call the valley of disappointment. It is the painful space between what you expect to happen, which is linear progress, a straight line up, and what actually happens, which is stored energy followed by a sudden exponential curve.
So when you are practicing English and you feel like you aren't getting any better, you are really just at 29 degrees.
You are at 29 degrees. You are insulating the wire. You are building the root system. If you quit right then because you don't see water yet, you lose all of that stored heat.
That reframes the frustration completely. It is not about failure at all. It is just about temperature. I am not failing at the guitar. I am just currently heating the room.
You are. But knowing this logically is one thing. Actually surviving it emotionally is another. Because culturally, we are obsessed with goals. We set these massive, heavy resolutions like, I want to be completely fluent in English, or I want to be a rock star.
Is that wrong, though? Don't we need a big target to aim at?
We need a general direction, sure, but we focus way too much on the goal and not nearly enough on the system. Think about the Olympic Games. Every single athlete standing at the starting line of the 100-meter dash has the exact same goal.
Win the gold medal?
Win the gold medal. No one trains for 4 grueling years hoping to get 8th place.
Yeah.
So if the winners and the losers both have the exact same goal, the goal itself cannot be the thing that differentiates them.
Whoa. That is a really profound point. The goal doesn't predict the winner at all.
The system predicts the winner. The system is the daily boring routine. It's the Tuesday morning training schedule, the diet, the sleep hygiene, the repetition.
So for our listener who desperately wants to learn English, the goal is fluency. But that is just a destination. It is not the vehicle that gets you there.
Right, and here is why goals can actually destroy your motivation. A goal is binary. You are either fluent, which is success, or you are not fluent, which is failure. So every single day you wake up and you aren't fluent yet, you feel like a failure.
You are just constantly postponing your happiness until some imaginary future date.
Exactly. But if you shift your focus to a system, you can literally win every single day. If your system is, I will listen to an English podcast for 15 minutes while drinking my morning coffee, and you do that.
You have succeeded.
You get a hit of dopamine, you feel like an absolute winner at 8 in the morning.
That takes so much pressure off the outcome. You don't have to grow into a 90-foot bamboo tree today. You just have to carry the water bucket today.
And if you fall in love with carrying the bucket, if you can actually fall in love with the boredom of the daily process, the results will absolutely take care of themselves.
I think this connects directly back to identity, which was mentioned in the final part of our research stack. It is the major difference between trying and being.
This is the ultimate mindset shift. When you focus solely on the goal, you say to yourself, I am a person trying to learn English. You are actively separating your identity from the skill. You are an outsider looking in.
And the word trying naturally implies that you could fail. It implies the state is temporary.
But when you focus on the daily system, you shift your core identity. You say, I am a reader. I am a musician. I am an English speaker.
Even if you still sound like a sick cat.
Yes, because what does a musician actually do? A musician practices. If you practice your instrument every day, you are a musician. The quality of your current output does not define your identity. The habit defines your identity.
That totally solves the imposter syndrome problem. You aren't faking it if you are genuinely doing the daily work.
Exactly. You aren't an imposter. You're just a real musician who happens to be at 29 degrees right now.
We have covered a huge amount of ground today, from farming invisible vegetables to the physics of ice cubes. I want to make sure you, our listener, can actually use this tomorrow morning. Let's do a rapid-fire recap of the toolkit we've built, the Grand Series Word Tour.
Let's do it.
First, we identified the main enemy, microwave culture and instant gratification.
We have to actively reject that. You cannot microwave biology. Embrace the reality of neural pathways and myelination. You are building a physical structure in your brain, and that just takes time.
Then we talked about the power of silence. Keep your bamboo roots underground. Don't dig them up just for cheap social validation, and definitely do not invite the crabs to critique your invisible work.
Right. If you tell everyone your big goal, you get a fake premature dopamine hit. And you invite criticism on your empty dirt. Keep the dream quiet and let the results eventually make the noise.
We use the ice cube analogy to understand the plateau of latent potential. Just because you don't see the melt doesn't mean the heat isn't building up.
Trust the physics of your effort.
Yeah.
Energy is never lost. It is just stored. You are at 29 degrees.
Then we explored the valley of disappointment.
That frustrating gap between your linear expectations and the reality of an exponential growth curve.
And finally, the ultimate solution: systems over goals. Don't worry about the Olympic gold medal. Worry about the 15-minute daily habit.
Fall in love with the boredom of the bucket. Because that is exactly where the true growth happens.
You know, I am thinking about my guitar again. I think tonight, when I sit down to play and it inevitably sounds bad, I am not going to apologize to my family. I am not going to look over for my mom's approval.
Good. What are you going to do instead?
I am just going to tell myself, okay, that was a really solid 15 minutes of heating the room.
That is exactly the mindset. You are building the roots.
So here is our final challenge to you, listening right now. We do not want to hear your big, scary goals. In fact, keep them completely to yourself. Don't tell us you want to be perfectly fluent.
Instead, look at your daily system. What is the one small, boring thing you are going to do every single day, no matter what?
Is it reading just one single article before breakfast? Is it shadowing one short podcast clip? Whatever it is, commit to the bucket, not the tree. Focus on being the person who does the habit.
Keep watering the dirt and ignore the crabs in the bucket.
Because eventually the ice will melt. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.